last videos, pretty much my life took a crazy change. My husband and I got separated, and that was due to a lot of, domestic issues that had been going on, and it was a really difficult time, to the point where we sold our 3-bedroom house that we had purchased. That was our first home. It was just a very nice place to be and a very nice place to live. Unfortunately, because of a lot of issues we were having, there were certain things that you're not able to do certain things when mentally, emotionally, you're not available. So on his end, he was pretty much in charge of the finances and working, and on my end, as some of you know, I am a homeschooling mom, so I homeschool. Flip. Good girl. White. I'm a homeschooling mom, so I homeschool 4 children, and between our arguments and our disagreements, I couldn't do my job, he couldn't do his job, and there was a lot of pressure falling on the both of us, even just maintaining a household. I couldn't do it personally. So as I was trying to change my diet and get healthy and to really, live what I've been telling you guys and really living that life, I actually started to get depressed. That was something I didn't even know I was going through until one of my friends had pointed out to me that you are depressed. It was a really difficult time. I ended up emotionally having an affair, and it was one of the hardest things that I've ever been through in my whole life, to the point where I started to not live healthy. So mentally, emotionally, and physically, I started to deteriorate. I started to eat things that I shouldn't be eating, and I actually started to drink more than anything. During my depression, I couldn't really get through a lot of days without some sort of gratification from either alcohol or sugar or something. I was in a really bad place, in a really dark place, and that's why you've seen, little to no videos, and then when you are seeing videos, it's just kind of like one every week. It's really because I couldn't really keep up with everything. So as I was trying to get better mentally and emotionally from everything that I was going through, I ended up getting really sick. Pretty much after my husband and I got separated, we ended up coming back together to sell our house. So we had spoke, and things seemed to be getting better. We decided to sell our house, and I ended up moving to my parents' house in their 2-bedroom basement apartment that isn't finished, which mentally was draining in itself. To have gone from a beautiful home to living in an unfinished basement, it was mentally it was tough. What ended up happening was I started going back to fast food, and I was still getting sugar and drinking caffeine, and pretty much for a week straight I lived off of Pepsi, coffee, and alcohol. For a whole week I didn't drink or eat anything else. Very shortly after that, I started to reconcile with my husband. We started doing a lot of talking about life and just getting our life in order, and then things took a turn for the worse. Again, the arguing started back up. There was a situation where I ended up calling the police. Pretty much, I would say a week to 2 weeks after I had called the police, which actually wasn't for anything that had physically happened to me at the time. I just mentally broke down, and there was a lot going on within me, and I did some things I probably shouldn't have done at the time. About a week or 2 after that, I started to physically get really sick. I started to wake up every morning. I would wake up, my eyes were swollen. I started getting these rashes all over my body, like there wasn't any spots. It was like the whole thing was covered in a rash, from my face all the way down to my thighs. So from my knees down it was fine, but from my knees up everything was covered in a rash. That went on for about a month or so, and pretty much one morning I woke up and my eyes were swollen shut. My whole face was swollen, and I had no idea what the heck had happened to me. So I had gotten my husband to take me to the hospital. It was a whole day event, And the doctors looked at me and they have said what they've always said: there's nothing we can do. It was probably something you ate. It was probably your environment. Here's some medication, take it, and hopefully, you'll see some results. I went to 4 doctors, and they all said the exact same thing, and they all prescribed me the exact same drugs. So what I ended up doing was I ended up going on a 2-month hiatus where I ate organic. I was living as healthy as I could to see if I could overcome the candida overgrowth, because that's what I initially thought it was, and to this day I still believe that was a huge factor as to why I got so sick. So I was eating healthy. I ended up going to a hotel and doing some bentonite clay and salt baths and just trying to get my body and my mind and everything under control, because at that point I definitely thought I was gonna die. At that point, when the doctors are looking at me and they're scared because of the clip you saw, nobody can figure out what's going on. It was a turning point for me where I realized that there were certain things in my life that I had to change, whether that was you have to take time out for yourself, whether you need counseling for your issues, whatever the case is, I needed help. Long story short, I ended up taking some of the medication that the doctor gave me. I kept eating healthy, I kept drinking my water, and today I can say I'm about 90% better. So my husband and I have decided to reconcile, and things have been going really well as far as us just learning how to communicate with each other in appropriate ways, not bringing up a lot of past situations. We've just been learning how to deal with situations as they come up and not putting them off. So because of everything that I've been through and everything that we've been through, we decided that a whole environment change is going to be beneficial for our family. So we decided that we want to move to Panama for at least the winter. So we are in the process of moving. We have, just gotten our passports. We are going to be starting to learn Spanish this week, and we're just mentally getting prepared for the move. And even in this time of us talking about moving, our communication has definitely grown. We have gotten counseling, by the way. 2 different people have counseled us. With that said, we have looked into the food in other countries, and we have noticed that in other countries besides North America, a lot of people eat organically. They don't even have to say it's organic because it's grown in their local areas, and there's a lot of farmers market. For me, it's all about being healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I'm also very excited about going to the beaches and getting into some salt water. You guys know I'm just a saltwater fanatic. Everything is cure this with salt water, cure that with salt water. But now I could go to the beaches and just swim in the salt water, and I'm really hoping that that does help my skin overall to just flourish and get better. So we are going to be moving in about 4 weeks. We're going to stay here up until New Year's, and then after New Year's we're going to leave, and I'm going to vlog, I'm going to vlog for you guys. I'm going to show you everything, and I'm going to give you guys a taste of Panama. and you guys can see what it's like to be in a different culture, in a different environment. But this in general is all about being healthy for me. And I really want to get healthy with you guys as well. So continue to subscribe. Thank you so much for all the new subscribers. Continue to write and email and leave comments. You guys have been awesome. And we're gonna grow as people, and we're gonna get healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically in the next year, 2015. This is our year to get healthy, and I'm really excited. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't be a stranger. Let's stay connected, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.